A seat filled with
Sir, I
silence.
need you to listen carefully.
Airports were strange places.
What's going on, officer?
Thousands of
Is
people passed
everything
through them every
okay?
hour, yet
Is
some
there a
faces were
problem
noticed more
here?
than others, not because they were loud, but because they were quiet. Marcus Elijah Reed sat alone at gate C-17, waiting to board Flight 327 to Seattle. He wasn't scrolling on his phone. He wasn't complaining about the delay. He wasn't speaking to anyone. He simply observed. Years in federal service had trained his eyes to notice what others ignored. Exits, body language, tension, patterns. It wasn't paranoia. It was survival. Marcus wore simple clothes, a dark hoodie, jeans, worn sneakers. Nothing expensive. Nothing official. Just a man blending in, or so he thought. A few seats away sat Karen Whitmore. She noticed him immediately. Not because he spoke. Not because he moved. But because he didn't. Her eyes followed him every time he shifted slightly. When he stood to stretch his legs, her posture stiffened. When he looked toward the boarding desk, her heartbeat quickened. "There's something off about him," she murmured to herself. The boarding announcement echoed through the terminal. Passengers lined up. Marcus boarded quietly and took his seat 18A, window side. Karen sat across the aisle in 18C. As the plane filled, Marcus buckled in and rested his hands calmly on his thighs. Karen watched. He didn't open a book. He didn't watch videos. He looked around, calmly, deliberately. Her discomfort grew into certainty. "He's watching everyone," she whispered to the man beside her. The man barely looked up. "So is half the plane." "No," Karen snapped. "Not like that." Marcus adjusted his feet slightly. Karen's fingers tightened around her purse. "There," she whispered urgently. "Did you see that?" The man sighed. "Ma'am, you're overthinking." But Karen's mind was already made up. She pressed the call button. The flight attendant arrived, polite and patient. "Yes, ma'am?" Karen leaned close, lowering her voice. "There's a man near me who's acting suspicious." The attendant glanced over. Marcus sat quietly, eyes forward. "What exactly is he doing?" "That's the problem," Karen said. "He's doing nothing. He's just watching." The attendant hesitated. "Ma'am, many people." "I don't feel safe," Karen interrupted. "And I want security involved." The attendant nodded reluctantly and disappeared toward the cockpit. Marcus felt it instantly, the shift in energy, the subtle tightening of the air. Two uniformed security officers boarded the plane moments later. Whispers spread like wildfire. They stopped beside Marcus. "Sir," one officer said firmly, "we need you to step off the aircraft." Marcus looked up slowly. "May I ask why?" "We received a report about suspicious behavior." Marcus exhaled quietly. "Understood." He removed his headphones and stood calmly. Gasps rippled through the cabin. Karen leaned back in her seat, relief washing over her. "I told you," she whispered. "Always trust your instincts." Marcus walked toward the front of the plane. Some passengers stared openly. Some avoided eye contact. Some nodded in approval. Near the door, one officer spoke again. "Sir, we need to see identification." Marcus nodded. He reached slowly into the inside pocket of his jacket. The officers stiffened. Time slowed. Carefully, Marcus removed a leather wallet and opened it. Inside gleamed a gold badge. Federal Bureau of Investigation. "I'm Special Agent Marcus Reed," he said calmly. "And I'm on duty." Silence slammed into the cabin. The officers froze. Yes, sir," one stammered. Karen's blood ran cold. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. When truth stands up. The captain arrived quickly, followed by airport security supervisors. "What's going on?" the captain asked. "There's no threat," Marcus replied evenly. "Just an assumption." Karen stood up suddenly. I didn't know," she said loudly, panic in her voice. "I was just trying to protect people." Marcus turned toward her. His voice was steady, not angry, not raised. "Ma'am," he said, "I've protected people for most of my adult life." The cabin was completely silent. "I've stood between danger and strangers who would never know my name." Karen's eyes filled with tears. "And today," Marcus continued, "I became the danger in your story, because I was quiet. Because I looked like me." Karen began to sob. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I judged you." Marcus nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "You did." The captain cleared his throat. "Agent Reed, would you like to press charges for false reporting?" Marcus looked around the cabin. At the children watching, the uncomfortable adults, the lessons being written in real time. "No," he said quietly. "Because fear punished you enough." Karen was escorted off the plane, not arrested, but broken. As Marcus returned to his seat, something unexpected happened. A young boy stood up. "My dad is black," he said softly. "And he's the best person I know." An elderly woman followed. "My son wears hoodies," she said. "He's not dangerous." Then another passenger stood. Then another. Applause slowly filled the cabin, not loud, but meaningful. Marcus sat down, eyes burning. The flight attendant leaned in. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" Marcus asked. "For showing kindness when you didn't have to." Marcus looked out the window as the plane finally lifted into the sky. "Kindness," he said quietly, "is the only thing that truly disarms fear." What happens after the applause? The applause didn't last long. It never did. Life had a way of returning to normal far too quickly, even after moments that were supposed to change people. As the plane cruised above the clouds, passengers slowly sat back down. Seat belts clicked. Screens turned on. Drinks were served. But something inside the cabin had shifted. Marcus Reed felt it. People no longer avoided his eyes. Some smiled politely. Some nodded respectfully. Some looked at him with something heavier, guilt. He didn't enjoy it. He had never wanted attention. Marcus leaned his head against the window, watching endless white clouds stretch across the sky. His reflection stared back at him, calm on the outside, tired underneath. 18 years. That's how long he'd worn the badge. 18 years of proving himself twice as much, speaking half as much, and carrying the weight of representing more than just himself. The flight attendant approached again, her voice soft. "Agent Reed, can I get you anything?" "Just water, please." She hesitated. "I'm really sorry." "About what happened?" Marcus smiled faintly. "You did your job. That's all any of us can do." A few rows back, a man leaned forward. "Sir," he said nervously. "May I say something?" Marcus turned. "I was one of the people who thought, maybe the woman was right," the man admitted. "And I hate myself for that." Marcus studied him. "Then learn from it," he said gently. "That's how change starts." The man nodded, eyes glossy. Across the aisle, a young black woman wiped her tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "For staying calm." Marcus nodded once. Inside, the memory stirred, moments just like this. Too many of them. A memory he never forgot. Years earlier, Marcus had been 17. Walking home from school. Hood up. Backpack slung low. A police car had stopped beside him. Hands where I can see them. He remembered the cold pavement against his cheek. The fear in his mother's eyes when she arrived. That night, his father had sat him down. "They will see you before they hear you," his father said. So you must decide who you are even when they decide for you. That night, Marcus chose. Not anger. Purpose. Back to the present. The plane began its descent. As wheels touched the runway, the cabin filled with the familiar jolt of reality. Passengers gathered their bags. Some hesitated as they passed Marcus. A middle-aged man stopped. "My son wants to be in law enforcement," he said quietly. "I hope he grows up to be like you." Marcus swallowed. "Teach him empathy first," he replied. "The badge comes later." At the exit gate, Marcus stood aside, letting others leave first. Then he felt a presence behind him. Karen. She stood there, eyes swollen, posture smaller than before. "I asked if I could speak to you," she said softly. Marcus nodded. "I don't expect forgiveness," she continued. "But I need you to know, today changed me." Marcus studied her face. "Change isn't what you feel," he said. "It's what you do next." She nodded, tears falling freely. "I'll do better," she whispered. Marcus stepped aside, letting her pass. Not forgiveness, but grace. The final moment. Outside the terminal, a young boy tugged at Marcus's sleeve. "Are you really FBI?" he asked wide-eyed. Marcus smiled for the first time that day. "Yes," he said. "Are you a hero?" Marcus knelt down to the boy's level. "No," he replied gently. "I'm just a man who didn't let fear decide who he was." The boy nodded as if that answer mattered. As Marcus walked into the crowd, he disappeared like he always did, not into suspicion, but into purpose. The badge stayed hidden. The lesson did not. Sometimes the most dangerous thing on a plane is not a man sitting quietly, but a judgment made loudly, without knowing the truth. Kindness doesn't require a badge. It only requires courage.